Honestly speaking, we had no idea the 2022 NBA Finals would end up being so close. And even though both the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics are tied at 2 games each, Game 3 was just something else altogether. And don't let the scoreboard fool you. Boston may have won by 16 points, but the game was much closer than that. Keep watching this video as we're going to tell you everything about the thrilling series. First up, sealing the deal. The Boston Celtics were relentless in Game 3 against the Golden State Warriors, and it wasn't like any one of them had a really extraordinary game or something. It was just a really spectacular team effort. Everyone did what they were supposed to, whether it was defense or offense. The Celtics were on top the whole time. And what was really interesting about Game 3 is that we think Boston has finally found the ultimate strategy to keep the Warriors at bay. You're probably wondering though, what good is the strategy if they can't even win Game 4? Well, just hear us out for a second. The Celtics just need to get a really explosive start and then carry that momentum for the next 36 minutes. Even in Game 3, the Celtics outscored the Warriors 33-22 in the first quarter, and an 11-point lead in the first quarter isn't exactly a good sign for the trailing team. And even though Curry and his boys were able to outscore Boston by 1 point in the second quarter and 8 in the third quarter, they never really managed to cut the lead. Talk about Rob Williams though, too good. Is there anything this guy doesn't swat away? Every time Boston missed out on an opportunity to make a basket, Williams was waiting to make things right. He finished the game with 4 blocks and 10 rebounds. And let's not forget that emphatic dunk early in the game, which pretty much set the momentum and sealed the deal for the night. Next, no mistakes. Believe it or not, we actually think both teams are equally matched. Like 4 games have already been played, and the fact that both teams are tied at 2 says a lot. And if you've watched some of our videos in the past, you may remember when we said that the Warriors would be the 2022 NBA champions. Well, about that. This isn't exactly a groundbreaking theory or some sort of rocket science. It's actually very straightforward. The team which makes the most mistakes will lose the NBA Finals. Look at Game 3 for example. We're not taking anything away from the Boston Celtics. They played some really good basketball, but the Warriors weren't exactly at the top of their game either. For starters, they gave the ball away a few too many times. Like there's absolutely no need to make a pass across the entire court. They missed too many shots trying to make things look fancy. Honestly, if Golden State had stuck to their original game, the result might have ended up being different. Boston didn't only make more buckets, but they also took more shots. They were clearly the aggressors in Game 3. But let's not forget the pressure of playing an away game. Oh, and not to mention the really classy fans. Don't worry, we'll get to this later. So, at the end of the day, whichever team loses the finals will lose because of their own game. Apart from that, we think both teams are evenly matched, and Game 5 could go either way. Next, real classy. We get it. It's the finals. Things will get intense, and that also means the fans want to get involved. But you gotta keep things classy, right? Some fans tend to forget that they're not just there to cheer their team on. They're actually representing the players on the court. And after what happened in Game 3 of the NBA Finals, we're pretty sure the Celtics aren't too happy with how their faithful fans have behaved. Boston fans have always had a reputation though, but still, that gives them no reason to abuse Draymond Green, as he was ejected from the court after committing a foul. Boston fans began to shout a very loud and clear, "Fuck you, Draymond." You know what's really sad about it? Draymond's wife and kids were present at the game whilst all this was happening. Imagine how difficult it must have been for his kids to listen to an arena of over 20,000 people abuse their dad. Warriors coach Steve Kerr called the chant really classy. Even Draymond Green wasn't surprised with what he got from the fans. He said it's nothing new, and coming from the likes of Boston fans, it's expected. And what's really ironic about the whole episode is that there were kids in the crowd as well. So fans weren't just abusive in front of Draymond's kids, they were abusive in front of their own as well. While Draymond didn't make too much out of the chanting, his wife definitely didn't hold back, as she took to Instagram to call out the fans. She said that fans shouldn't be given so much leverage like that, especially when they're abusing a player in front of his kids and their own kids. She also questioned the NBA and how they have the audacity to place a code of conduct card on every seat in the arena, but won't take any action as to banning or even ejecting abusive fans. We're sure this fueled Golden State to demolish the Boston Celtics in Game 4, as they won 107-97. Now, in other related news. On the other side, LeBron James might not be the greatest of all time, but make no mistake, he easily goes down amongst the top 5 players to ever grace the game of basketball. Along with having multiple records to his name, King James has featured in a movie and just recently became a billionaire. After getting his billionaire status, he wants to stay in the NBA, but on the other side of things, King James is interested in owning an NBA team. Yep, you heard that right. James is tired of staying in the shadows and dictating the front office. He wants to come into the light and do it as a profession now, and it isn't like he doesn't have the experience or something. LeBron has pretty much controlled every team he's played in after making a name for himself, but his antics became really visible when he tried to get what he wanted by force at the Lakers. Anyway, LeBron is eyeing to own a team in Las Vegas, and what's really interesting is that the NBA commissioner recently talked about expanding the NBA, and his first area of interest was, you guessed it, Las Vegas. Is Curry an alien? No, really. This guy isn't from Earth. His team was literally trailing by 1 game in the NBA Finals, and he casually starts to sink consecutive 3-pointers in the 4th quarter of the game to even the series. Steph Curry had the night of his life during the 4th game against the Boston Celtics. He also became the first point guard to score more than 40 points in an NBA final after the NBA-ABA merger. Out of the 26 shot attempts, Curry managed to sink 14, helping the Warriors edge a 10-point victory over the Celtics. And after seeing that performance, we already know who's going to be the MVP of the 2022 finals. Win or lose, Curry has proved himself as one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. When it comes to shooting beyond the arc, there's no doubt he's the best. Even LeBron James couldn't contain himself after watching Steph's godlike performance in Game 4. Chef is insane. Can never ever count the chosen ones is out, tweeted LeBron. Only Curry has the ability to make some of the greatest players of our generation praise him for his crazy skill. Next, another legacy? Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Shaquille O'Neal. Just some of the players who come to mind when you talk about the legacy of the Los Angeles Lakers. But what if we told you we might get to see a legacy take another face and possibly dominate the league once again? Don't know about you, but it sure would be nice to have another hoop-destroying O'Neal on the court. Speaking of which, Shaquille O'Neal's son, Sharif O'Neal, is working out for the LA Lakers prior to the draft. And the exciting bit is that the Lakers front office have been closely watching Sharif and deciding whether they should draft him or not. Because if one thing's for sure, if you're looking for business and you want jam-packed arenas, Sharif is the guy. We haven't gotten the chance to see how good of a basketballer he is, but we're sure his dad must have taught him a trick or two about dominating teams. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Does Boston have enough to seal the deal against the dominant Warriors? Should the NBA fine the Celtics for their fans' behavior? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.